Hi there, I'm John Hucker, president of the Swiss Finance and Technology Association. Not only am I stumbling on my words after about 6 weeks in quarantine, but also my hair is getting very long. We are excited today, though, to be bringing back 3 longtime participants in the Swiss FinTech ecosystem. They've had different roles, different perspectives, but they're all in very interesting position now in the WealthTech focus. So given that we're checking in with all the different sides of the FinTech community, I wanted to welcome Sinan, Martin, MYRIAM, and Chris, who are some of the leading examples of WealthTech entrepreneurs, especially at the growth stage right now in the FinTech community in Switzerland. And so, yeah, without further ado, I'll welcome MYRIAM first. Hi, MYRIAM. Do you want to say a few words and introduce yourself?
Yes, MYRIAM REINLE. I'm the CEO of EVOLUTE, newly since 2 months now. EVOLUTE is a company who's providing a software for wealth managers, independent wealth managers, and multifamily offices. And we shortly decided to move on that strategy whilst becoming a marketplace for financial product and services. We are about 38 people. Most of them are developers in Ukraine and the rest in Zurich. And we're going through these difficult times by home office. I've been in home office since 1.5 months now, so I hardly saw the team. I hardly recognize them. But as an online company, we are very well connected, and we're used to work the way we do work today. Yeah. Thanks.
Great, thanks, MYRIAM. I guess next going down the list, I'll welcome Martin from Altu to say a few words as well.
Grüezi miteinander, guten Nachmittag. It's great to be here as Altu as well. We are a wealth tech company based in Zug. We have 24 employees, thereof 17 in software engineering. So we are a pure tech company focusing on providing simplicity for complex wealth. So our key clients are ultra high net worth individuals, they are single family offices, or in B2B as well, multi-family offices. So if it comes about providing track and control what's going on 2-3 different custodians on real estate, private equity, our technology helps. And I have to say, yes, the current situation is an unprecedented one for all of us. But on the other side, given the nervous market, it's as well one which helps WealthTech. Because there was never more need than now to have track and control and overview. And this is what we experience a lot with our current clientele.
Thanks, Martin. Chris from WealthTech, do you want to say a few words next?
Yes, thank you, John. Hello, my name is Chris COGOL. I am a co-founder and CEO of WealthTech. WealthTech is already 5 years old, and we are a Zurich-based fintech platform, which is providing portfolio management, CRM, and data consultation to external asset managers. Generally, at WealthTech, we specialize in data processing. We develop over 40 APIs. These are data feeds to custodian banks worldwide, so that our customers, multifamily offices, they can use, they have very quick access to all data they need just from our platform. And actually, when it comes to the lockdown, we were seeing very interesting behavior among our customers. And I must say that in a way, it's driving digital transformation. Because I saw that in the past, people were reluctant, to move some data into the cloud. They were reluctant, to share maybe some documents or information with the third-party technology providers. And now with the lockdown, actually, it's a new normal. And I really see how this lockdown and this situation is accelerating digital transformation in wealth management.
Thanks, Chris. And a bit of a twist for our last example. Sinan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, John. Hello, Martin, MYRIAM, and Christoph, first of all. Hope all of you guys are keeping safe and sound. So Sinan with Canopy, in case you missed. I'm not sure if that's allowed, but here it is.
Of course.
So Canopy is a wealth tech specialized in data aggregation, BPO, and customized reporting. We are a B2B company as well, just like Martin put it. Typical customers would be private banks, but also we work with financial intermediaries, some trust fiduciaries as well. We're partly owned by Credit Suisse, some large banks behind us. And we try to help basically anyone that has lots of money in how to foresee their wealth and how to manage that and provide some insights on it and analytics and so forth. I can only add to what MYRIAM and Christoph and Martin said, that we have seen an unprecedented amount of logins over the last couple of months. So certainly people want to see where they stand and what kind of actions they want to take next. So yeah.
Great. Interesting, everybody. Thank you for picking up, especially on the current status during the coronavirus. I think given that we have such strong local examples, and Sinan, you're bringing a bit more of the international wealth tech perspective, I wanted to pick up on the next sort of phase of things. If Corona is the big focus in the near term, what about the long-term focus of your base here in Switzerland and its potential as a global hub for wealth tech? Is that proving to be what you're continuing to see through the crisis and as you mature as companies? What are your thoughts on Switzerland as a global hub for wealth tech?
So
Sinan, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, so for us, it's actually, this whole thing started before coronavirus. Coronavirus is just adding some spice or some heat on top of it. You could see it already started with WeWork and other failed or underwhelming IPOs, right, which we've seen in the market. But at the same time, you've seen some fresh and hope-giving examples like Adapar, Yapili, Canopy even. We have managed to raise some funds, and then you see some companies getting acquired. I'm referring to fintech startups, obviously, right? So you mentioned the global approach. So in Asia, for example, Bento and Polycipal were recently acquired. And of course, there have been some companies that have been suffering, like Smartly and so forth. So we believe this market has already been suffering. It's just the COVID-19 has added some heat on it, basically. But in the long term, we think the crisis is going to be global. So we're going to see weak companies to fold very quickly. Strong fintechs to acquire competitors, that's obviously inevitable, and industry players to acquire fintechs to build expertise. And this is going to be a global phenomenon. So I don't want to exclude Switzerland from this equation. We see this globally happening everywhere.
Interesting insight, Sinan. Martin, you're in a similar sort of space. Are you seeing the same thing locally? Is Switzerland the hub for global wealth tech? What do you think?
Yes, perfectly true. I mean, for us, we have all them based in Switzerland. Yes, expensive, but we service a premium clientele, ultra high net worth individuals. So for them, it's private infrastructure. So therefore, we play the full story. Just last year in October, we've been part of the Forbes magazine Family Office Software Roundup 2019. And there we've been the only Swiss company. And even though we don't actively market ourselves yet in foreign countries, we are getting now approached by clients from UK, from Italy, recently even from the Lebanon. So yes, Switzerland still has this kind of credibility. It's a stable country, it's a secure country. So if we talk about wealth tech, yes, we don't have physical money in our technology, but it's about privacy. So we feel that a lot, and I really hope for Switzerland and the financial industry that it's not only about the banks being part of the financial hub Switzerland, but as well the tech firm providing the services. I think we can really build up a good growth story internationally, as well in terms of premium charging, because we are a Swiss company in the future going forward. So I think it's really worthwhile that we try as well, like you do it with SFTA, to promote Switzerland as a hub for that technology and involve as well the politicians, the ones being responsible for the outside image of Switzerland, that this is part of the story.
Congratulations, Martin, and thanks for those insights. Maybe jumping over to MYRIAM, do you have similar thoughts on wealth tech in Switzerland?
A lot of things have been said already. Maybe from my point of view as a non-finance guy, because I don't have this background, I think that Switzerland has a lot of credibility regarding private banking and a good political and economical environment enabling that a lot of fintechs and even now market of EAMs get developed. But on the other hand, there's not much there's not much going on in technology, actually. Even if fintechs are still growing or WealthTechs are still growing, if you look on the Swisscom startup map, it grew a lot since last year. I think it's almost doubled, if I'm not mistaken. But still, technology it's a difficult topic, especially in our field with independent wealth managers. They're still very reluctant to use technology. They're still like this 50-year-old who don't use it or not used to use it. And I think our community should really think about this change. And I think this crisis now is certainly helping. Being more open to technology, to use it more efficiently, and to be aware that that technology can really help to save costs and to be more efficient and to move on in another state. I hope this will help us.
Great, thank you for those thoughts, MYRIAM. And I guess, Chris, last word for you. What do you think about Switzerland as a WealthTech hub? You're an expat living here. Maybe you have some insights you can share.
I think that definitely a WealthTech in Switzerland and also worldwide will be different after Corona. Short term, the whole situation, especially the lockdown, it makes it more challenging to deliver your business plan. Everybody is more cautious about their costs, but I believe that long term, this is actually a huge opportunity for WealthTech startups or WealthTech scale-ups, especially that in Switzerland, in the financial industry, there are a lot of well-established IT companies providing overpriced systems. And banks, but also wealth managers, they are spending plenty of money for the solutions that are not modular, that are having plenty of features, whereas they don't need at least half of those features. They are paying a lot of money for installation, and the installation lasts not months but sometimes years. Whereas you have fintechs that are providing actually the service exactly you need. There are new innovative payment models where you pay as you go, so only for the things you are using. When there is no concept of installation, because everything is plug and play, you just via REST APIs you connect different systems with each other, and they start working immediately. But I believe that long term, the whole situation in the after COVID world will be much better, and the adoption of WealthTech will be better in Switzerland and also worldwide.
Oh, excuse me. I wanted to try and wrap things up a bit. We wanted to talk about collaboration, and I think, MYRIAM, you touched on that a little. Maybe Martin, is it something you want to pick up on? Or MYRIAM, did you have a few words before we get started?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we have seen in the recent year is that you get much more focus in what you're delivering. So what I see here now with the 4 participants today, we as AL2, we try to team up with everybody, because sometimes 1 and 1 is not equals 2, but 3 or 4, especially if it comes to a client benefit, client experience. So therefore we have now a test client together with WealthArc already ongoing. We team up with Canopy if it goes to data from APIs out of Asia. And as MYRIAM has mentioned, she's moving on and creating a marketplace. So I think the participants of today are a perfect example that it's much better by focusing on what the strength is of a company and teaming up to get together a bigger market share that would not be reachable if just one is trying everything alone.
MYRIAM, any words you wanted to add on that?
Yes. From EVOLUTE point of view, our strategy of the marketplace is on one hand that we are like 4 different options we have. It's one of them is what's just a Martin mentioned. It's kind of information aggregation we want to implement. The other one is to be a distributing channel which means, for example, integrating WealthTech products which are relevant for portfolios and wealth managers, and to give them ideas. A third one would be to have a kind of aggregated buying power, which means a lot of smaller AAMs which we can pull together and then try to benefit from better conditions from banks, for example. And the third one is the process integration. Canopy is a good example. We're talking with Canopy as well, yeah, I think that this is four major things we are planned to implement with, or we are already about to implement. We lately announced a partnership with BDO, which is part of this process integration. And I think there are many things moving on there with partnerships. I'm very, very fond and convinced about this opportunities.
Thanks, MYRIAM. It's great to hear so many strong words of support for sort of an ecosystem and collaborative mindset, especially here in Switzerland, which has such great potential. Sinan, I wanted to ask you, what do you think about collaboration? Isn't that your business and what it's all about?
Yeah, it is absolutely, John. And I mean, I can only relate to what MYRIAM and Martin has been saying, right? So people in Switzerland, especially the fintech scene, has been talking about for many years, why do we come 4th, 5th, 6th after Berlin, Singapore, US, Switzerland, elsewhere, like London, for example. In my humble opinion, that's exactly the problem is because we're not creating an ecosystem where people are actually sharing each other's expertise and are actually benefiting from each other's expertise, right? Somehow in this part of the world, in this region, everyone is trying to do everything. Whereas if you look into other markets like the US, you have a clear distinction between different providers doing different things because they're specialized in different things. Like, for example, you have a specialized company that does data aggregation, then you have a specialized provider that does wealth reporting, and there's a special provider that does only back office. And somehow, because everyone is sticking to what they're the best and not stepping on each other's toes, you create this very wealthy, healthy ecosystem. And that's why, fintechs like London, and the US and Berlin, they're spearheading, whereas Switzerland is still struggling to find its space. So this is my own humble opinion. But also, coronavirus hasn't helped us, unfortunately, because fintech investments have been falling every quarter due to the coronavirus. Because when there is a panic situation, people tend to go to safe harbors, and people skip risky investments, right? And we all startups depend on investments. So if we're not getting investments, unfortunately, we are going down the road. And in this kind of era, it's very difficult for a fintech startup to raise capital. So what you have to do is to go back to basics and look at your balance sheet wealth and your cash flow management. And that means that instead of concentrating on market acquisition, you have to concentrate on actually looking at your balance sheet and being positive cash flow. That means trying to make money, which is a bit contradictory to what we have seen over the last couple of years in the fintech space. We have seen these unbelievably, actually even above the roof valuations with some companies that are not even making a dollar. And so I think coronavirus is going to have an impact on that. So we will all have to skip our crazy valuations with scalability and concentrate on actually reducing our costs and looking at our balance sheet, which is not going to contribute, unfortunately, to this ecosystem. But regardless, as Chris was saying, once this pandemic is over, I think we can go back to good old days and we can start building this ecosystem so we could be on par with New York, California, London, Berlin, and so forth. I think we deserve it, and I think we need it.
Thanks, Sinan. Chris, anyone else? Did you have last words on the topic of collaboration?
Absolutely, I can mention that I fully agree that collaboration is needed, and also every wealth tech company needs to think in which area wants to specialize, because you simply can't be good in everything. It was like old concept that we are developing a software, it's like a castle, and you can't connect it with anything else. Those times are gone. At WealthTech we are having open API, so our customers can connect other tools with data that we are aggregating for them in WealthTech. But here, maybe talking about a marketplace, it's also important to keep it simple. At WealthTech we are developing something like Apple Store, where our customers can choose whatever they want to use, but the whole complexity is actually on WealthTech. Because especially if you are a small or medium-sized wealth manager or a family office with 2 employees, you don't want to have 5 providers and have 5 agreements. You just want to have one major provider who is providing with a platform, and then the platform should give you an option to easily go for other providers. So I think that collaboration, yes, but it needs to be simple for end users.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody, for the thoughts on collaboration. As you know, here at the Swiss Finance and Technology Associations, for a long time, we've been big believers in the ecosystem, but also Switzerland's opportunity to build off the wealth management legacy and into things like crypto and all the other wonderful technologies FinTech is bringing in. So really great to hear that from strong growth FinTechs like yourselves. We're getting kind of close to the recommended YouTube length, and I know everybody's got lots of content to absorb at their home office these days, but I wanted to give you each a quick chance. Are there any last words or messages you'd like to leave? Chris, maybe picking up with you while you have the chance to say hi to our audience.
So maybe the final words is actually the hope that the whole lockdown and the situation will leave us fully digital and paperless. Because especially in wealth management, private banking, and in the finance, people loved papers. Now I'm very happy that at least at WealthTech we start using DocuSign everywhere. Even we are signing contracts with customers via DocuSign. That customer banks are no longer sending documents to wealth managers. WealthTech is taking care of that and processing those documents fully electronically. So our big wish is that after the whole situation, we will be fully digital and paperless.
Wow, so wealth managers might not insist on sending you PDFs anymore. You might get it digitally, right?
And they stop printing them. They might still using PDFs, but I hope they will no longer print them.
That's a running joke between Chris and I. MYRIAM, would you like to say any last words or messages?
Yes, maybe I just read lately an article of a customer of ours, SFTA from BT Wealth Management, and he said the market of the AMs are missing creativity and time for taking care of the customers, and that new technology could help do this better, automatization, data processing, and to have more time to take care of the customers. And I think that the crisis we're going through right now is probably picking this up and will help us, but also our customers to get on in this new area of digitalization.
Well, thank you, MYRIAM. And I guess next, Sinan, do you want to say?
Well, what can I say? It's kind of all we want to say is stay healthy, stay wealthy, and stay happy. Honestly, it comes down to that because, all 4 very experienced and very exciting fintechs here on this panel, we all agree that digitization has been very important and is ever so important right now, especially in these kind of social distancing and so forth. So stay at home and stay happy.
Thank you, Sinan, for the warm messages. And of course, don't forget to visit everybody's website after the broadcast. I'll put the links in. Martin, I guess you get the lucky last words. What would you like to share?
No, I think we have mentioned many aspects of the COVID-19 times. I think one time is as well, we are all sitting at home now. So we can spend much more time on things that we usually neglect. Business-wise, we never had more time talking to our clients as now, because they are seated at home, and of course they like to play around with the tool, and at the end of the day, WealthTech is nothing else as a toy as well, if you have time to do it. So it's always great to see that side, that people take more time for these things. But on the other side as well, I think it's taking time as well for family, private matters. I think we are all home. We have all a new rhythm of life. So that gives new aspect. And my hope is that we keep lots of these positive things that happen now as well in normal business times again. I think we have all learned lots of positive things. So let's stick to it. I'm only missing one thing, because usually, John, after your session, we team up then for having at least 1, 2, or 3 beers, which is now here. So I hope that everybody has a cold beer in the fridge, so that we can have one virtually now, but then soon or later one as well physically again. So thanks for that.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Martin. Yeah, we're working on a solution for that too, but one step at a time. First the events, then the drinks. But thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Sinan. Thank you, Chris. And thank you, Martin. That was a lot of fun, and also I think really informative about what's going on at the Global Hub for WealthTech. We'll come back to this topic many times again in the future, and we're back again tomorrow with a look at InsurTech, another core theme here in Switzerland. So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in, and also to our guests, of course. And I look forward to doing this again. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Ciao.